All right, so yesterday, which is March 21st, 2022, the Fed Chair Jerome Powell made some kind of cool comments about yield curves, basically on how folks gauge recession risk, using these bond yield curves. And he said the short side of the yield curve, namely the first 18 months, is what has 100% of the explanatory power of the yield curve. It's called the near-term forward spread, and if you Google that phrase, the first link you'll see is a Fed research paper all about it from 2018 authors Eric Engstrom and Steve Sharpe. So, like you might hear the talking heads on the TV go on about, is the bond curve signaling some sort of imminent recession? Well, actually, I don't think so. I actually think it's characteristic of some healthy fundamentals and a well-targeted approach to address some of these high commodity prices. And there is a reason I'm not calling the high commodity prices inflation. Inflation is a currency devaluation concept where overall purchasing power decreases. And there are some real reasons why the relative fair value of inputs like grain and energy are high right now. But hey, I could always be wrong. I'm just some guy on the internet, right? Okay, so let's go in and take a look under the hood at Eurodollar Futures. Now, quick explainer, it's not an exchange rate, has nothing to do with euro currency. Eurodollars are 3-month US dollar denominated deposits at foreign banks, which are outside of Federal Reserve jurisdiction. The euro part is kind of a misnomer. It really could be anywhere else in the world, doesn't matter. Super liquid with forward contracts listed out like 10 years, like woohoo, 10 years of contracts, amazing. And between all the positions and kind of spreads, relationships, all the option strategies, you can basically hedge or express any opinion on interest rates and complex changes in the yield curve. But we don't really have to overthink this too much right now. Okay, we got my little cursor there. On the left vertical axis, this is the actual yield, and on the horizontal axis, this is the contract expiration. These are still like out 10 years of Eurodollars, all the Eurodollars. We're going to trim that down here in just a moment, I promise. Then we have time here in the color of the line, where the lightest and brightest, this is right now, which is March 22nd, about 8 o'clock Pacific. Then we have, 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So you can see how this market has, changed over, very recent time. Okay, so along this this theme of not thinking too hard, let's take the Fed chair very, very literally, and their research very, very literally, and look at this area where it's what they said the first 18 months or so, which I mean intuitively it does kind of look like where yeah, most of the actual action is happening. So I'm not too scientific. I'm gonna kind of eyeball this in, and yeah, I think we've got something. Okay, so quick calculus question for anyone who's ever taken calculus here. Little pointer up. Here we go. Here's the quarter. What's the slope between this point over here and say like that point over here? And even before you think about even values or anything, it's just, is this going to be a positive slope or a negative slope? Like less over here, more over there. I mean, just think about it for a moment. And I'll show you a picture here of what inverted looks like. And I want you to draw your own conclusion of whether or not this looks inverted to you. Does this thing look like that thing? And you can draw your own conclusions. Okay, so I think we may have settled the question that this is not a near-term inversion. It's not really what that looks like. In fact, a lot of it, most of it, is really the opposite of what that should look like. There is this kind of interesting hump formation here, which is significant, and I think it's significant for two reasons. First, it shows that this area where the market is responding to this idea of policy intervention, it kind of tapers off into late 2023, and that's a good thing. You don't want to have aggressive policy intervention when you don't need it. That's a good outlook for the economy. Second, this area here, this is when the interest rates most affect what you call the cost of carry in physical commodities. Now, physical commodities, they need to be stored, and that storage is financed by short-term loans. And when that storage cost increases, there's an incentive to bring all of that stuff out of storage and to market sooner rather than later. That increases immediate market supply, which, all else equal, works to keep prices lower. Also, for dollar-denominated commodities, a stronger dollar or more expensive dollar, that's higher interest rate. The interest rate is the price of money, actually lowers the cost compared to other currencies.